And I want to say before we met today, I did spend some time on your website. And one of the things that I noticed first, you have a video, about an 8-minute video on there introducing your team and your company to
Right.
to the internet world, right?
Right.
And it was very impressive to me for two reasons. One, it seems like you have like the most amazing team that I've
We
ever,
do.
look at him smile, right? Not biased or anything, but it really did. I was paying attention to everybody. You seem like you have just a wonderful team. And two, your company seems to really be a stickler for customer service, right? And every company says this, but few master it. But it seems like you have mastered it. So I want to ask you, how do you effectively build a team? Because it seems like you've done it.
Yeah, that's a great question. How I've done it is I've had a lot of bad hires over the years. I had to go through my own process over the years of really deciding what values were important to me.
Hmm.
And it always comes back to the same thing, which is like from the day I started this with like one customer, from nothing. Um, and I'm me doing all the work myself, every single thing, including the technical work. I always felt really, really like the weight of obligation to the customer
Hmm.
to do the right thing and to solve their problems and to service them and to make sure that they were happy. It's like I'm not sure if the right word is visceral. I think that means like it's a gut feeling.
Uh-huh.
It's like that for me. Like I used to get, it was only up until about a year or two ago that I learned to actually not be like this myself. Like if we got a complaint, it bothered me to all ends of the earth getting a complaint, even if there's nothing we can do about it. And I guess it just goes back to the beginning of like, I just want to provide a service where people are happy. And probably me as an individual, I like for people to be happy.
Hmm.
So I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like to not be accountable or irresponsible. It's just who I am. So that's how the company is.
Okay.
So over the years, as I began to hire people, and when you hire people who don't necessarily have that value system, then
Mm.
your own customers are not going to feel the way that you want them to feel, which is that relationship and that real connection. So what I do now, I started doing I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. This is a very literal part of the answer. I use what do you call them? Like DISC assessments, like behavior assessments
Okay.
and personality assessments. And that's one of the first ways that I can look for, there's no right or wrong to it. It's just, it tells me if the person's thinking and behavior is in alignment with my values of how I want the company run. So
Hmm.
I can tell if somebody's not going to be a fit. And I've yet to see one be wrong because I've had situations where like this person seems unbelievable, even though there's a red flag right here that tells me that they have a low empathy rating.
Okay.
I would ignore it and hire them because they seem great. And all of a sudden I start to see customer complaints coming in because the person isn't very empathetic.
Hmm.
And how does somebody come off when they're not empathetic? They come off maybe harsh, not understanding. Well, you can't be like that in our business. So
Okay.
I began to learn over the years that to really not hire for the skill set so much. I can teach anybody how to do IT if they have an ability. I
Mhm.
can't teach you empathy and compassion and mindfulness and how to be grateful. I can't teach somebody those values, so we hire for them. And so
Awesome.
that's why you've got that coming through the screen when you watch that video. I
Yeah.
can't teach people excitement. I can't teach people to see the glass half full versus half empty, nor do I want to. I just want those people to sort of have that organically.
Who have an
And the thing
intrinsic
is,
value. Yes. Yeah.
over the years, this was hard too because when I hire people, I'm very, very loyal to people and I don't like to let people go. And I've learned over the years by keeping some people for years too long that that's
Mm.
not good for the customer or the company. And now if I see something's not as it should be, you try to help people and you try to kind of get them to be where you want them to be. But there's nothing worse than having a toxic energy in the environment.
Yeah.
And so I have zero tolerance for toxicity. So if I find that there's people on the team that are becoming negative or complaining, we nip it right in the bud.
Okay.
And I always say to people, if you're complaining or you're making excuses or you're negative, Don't look around you, look in the mirror and start with that.
Okay.
Because that's where it starts. It's not anybody around you. It's not anything. So this whole energy and the way that we all, flow together is what it's about. I did a talk on one of our meetings about 3 weeks ago, a staff meeting, which you can see it's on YouTube. I recorded the staff meeting, 20 minutes. I did a talk about resistance versus flow. And anytime we feel that there's any sort of resistance with anything, it doesn't feel good. So rather than work in an environment or a situation where there's some sort of resistance, even if it's creative resistance, we have to find a way to always be in a state of flow. And you can think about like a basketball team that's all running down the court and everybody knows where to be and they're catching the ball. You're just flowing like it's a winning team. That's how I think. And I, if anything gets in the way of that, I make a change quickly now. And so how to build a winning team is start by understanding that you have to recognize the people that, not that they're the winning people, but that they jive with what you want to achieve and with your values, because you're the leader, you have the vision, you're the CEO or the owner of the company. That is where it starts. So if I have a vision for the company and people that work in the company that are part of the team don't share that vision or can't get behind it, you're waving a flag, running up the hill, attacking, and everybody's running the other way. That's resistance. And you're never going to get anywhere. So it took me a long time to really figure that all out, but I did. And it's not easy because it's a very, you have to have a lot of discipline, commitment. You have perseverance. Like I've had people for years that were with the company in high enough positions that when they left, I realized like, wait, oh my God, well, I didn't realize that they were blocking this opportunity from happening. And as soon as they left, other people in the company all of a sudden blossomed and were able to move around and advance and grow themselves. Because you maybe have somebody who's somewhat toxic and you don't realize it. You gotta have, here's one of the most important characteristics of a leader. This is the nugget. This is the thing you take out of the whole thing. A good leader sees what nobody else sees. I can see things around me that nobody else around me can see.
Great.
And it's true. Whether it's an opportunity, whether it's a problem, whether it's an employee that shouldn't be in a position or maybe needs to be in a different position, a process or a workflow that's not right, somebody speaking to a client, saying something that they don't realize it because maybe their emotional intelligence at that moment isn't where it should be, and they're creating, it's anything. So people see this and I see this. I see things that nobody around me sees. And that's actually one of the keys to how I was able to build this company from nothing.